Right. We are going to proceed with our questions on trigonometry from the same paper, November 2024, grade 12. So in this question, you are given the identity cos x minus y is equal to cos x cos y plus sin x sin y. Then they are saying use the compound identity given above to derive the formula for cos x plus y. So in that particular case, it therefore means we are going to derive the formula. So they want you to derive cos x plus y. So it simply means we are going to use what they are having there. So to derive this, we know cos x plus y will be equal to cos, this is 6.1.1, will be equal to cos x minus, because we want to use this formula, but to end up having plus, it means it's going to be minus minus y, like this. Then we close the bracket, which is equal to, here we are told this, there is identity, this one. So here it means we are going to have cos x. Here we say cos y, which was this angle. So we are going to say cos. Here we are going to say minus y. Then we take the sign as it is here. Then we are going to say sine. If we check in this formula, this x was extracted from. So sine x, then it's saying sine this y here is this one, but here we say minus. The angle we subtract is minus y. So it means here it's supposed to be minus y. Then from there, we can now simplify. So we need to understand our cast diagram to simplify there. So we have first quadrant, second quadrant, third quadrant, fourth quadrant. In the first quadrant, all angles, all ratios are positive. In the second quadrant, it's only sine, which is positive. In the third quadrant, it's only tan, which is positive. In the fourth quadrant, it's only cos, which is positive. Then in the first quadrant, we expect angles like theta, then 90 degrees minus theta. Then here we expect 90 degrees plus theta and 180 degrees minus theta. Here we expect 180 degrees plus theta and 270 degrees minus theta. Here we are going to expect 270 degrees plus theta and also 360 degrees minus theta and also a negative angle, a negative theta. So this reduces to cos x, which is fine. Then we check our negative y there. Negative y is in which quadrant? Negative angle is in the fourth quadrant. What is the sign of cos in the fourth quadrant? Is positive. So the ratio is not going to change. It can only change if it's a co-ratio. So this one reduces to cos y. Then here we are going to have plus. Then the sign x is as it is. Then we are going to check minus angle. We have minus y is in which quadrant? Fourth quadrant. What is the sign of sine in the fourth quadrant? It's negative. So here it's going to be negative sine y, which results to cos x cos y, this positive times this negative minus sine x sine y. So this will be equal to that. Then now, 6.1.2, they are now saying hence or otherwise show that this is equal to tan x plus y. So we are going to concentrate on the left-hand side. We are going to concentrate on the left-hand side. So on the left-hand side, we take this side as it is. Then we are going to reduce it. That is question 6.1.2. Then we are going to perform reductions. It's either you are going to be expanding these brackets because we have these ratios, or just do perform reductions. If we do reductions, 90 minus x is in which quadrant? 90 minus, we say it's in the first quadrant. What's the sign of course in the first quadrant? It's positive from this cast diagram. Then, will the ratio change or it will not change? The ratio, as we can see, we have 90 degrees, so it means the ratio is going to change. So here we are going to end up having cos. Sorry, we said the ratio is going to change because there's 90 degrees. So the ratio goes to sine. So it's going to be sine x. Then we are going to have cos y. Then plus, here we are having this angle. Negative angle is in which quadrant? Fourth quadrant. What is the sign of sine in the fourth quadrant? It's negative. So here we are going to have negative sine. Negative sine y. Then we check the other one. 180 plus is in which quadrant? (180 plus is in which quadrant? It's third quadrant. What is the sign of cos in the third quadrant? It's negative. Then is the ratio going to change or it's not going to change? Since we do not have 90, it's 180. So it means our ratio is not going to change. It's going to be negative cos x all over. We are going to have cos x there. Then 360 plus. The moment you have our angle is 360 and above, we just have to subtract the complete revolution. So it's gonna be, if we subtract 360, it's gonna be cos y. So this one just goes to cos y. Then, if we check here, we are having a plus. Then here we have 360. We just subtract a complete revolution. So 360 minus 360, we are going to be left with the sine negative x. Negative angle is in which quadrant? It's in the fourth quadrant. What is the ratio? What is the sign for sine? What is the sign of this ratio sign in the fourth quadrant? It's negative. So it's gonna be negative sine x. Then you take the sine y as it is. Then if we are to check, it means this reduces to sine x sine x cos y. Then minus times minus is positive. So it's going to be positive. There it's going to be cos x sine y all over. The reason why we changed it to cos x sine y, because we saw this, we have sine x cos y. And we know on our formula sheet, we have a formula for sine A plus B, which is written as sine A cos B plus cos A. You see, when you start with sine, the next one we are going to start with cos from the formula sheet. Then on the denominator, we are going to have cos x cos y. This becomes minus sine x sine y. But here, as I said from the formula, this reduces to sine x plus y divided by this one. It has been proven in 6.1. This denominator here is what has been proven in part 1 here. And this we found it to be cos x plus y. And sine over cos, where the angles is the same, changes to tan x plus y. And we have concluded that our left-hand side is equal to our right-hand side. So we have proven our identity. Then the next question, there it is. So let's remove these first two parts. We are now on question 6.2. On question 6.2, they are saying fx is equal to square root of this part. 6 what? Then they are saying solve for x in the interval 0 to 360 if fx is equal to 2. So if fx is equal to 2, so it means where there is fx, we are just going to substitute the fx. So it means on 6.2, it's gonna be 6 sine squared x minus 11 cos 90 degrees plus x there plus 7. That's our fx, and we are told this is equal to 2. So if we are to check, we are already having an equation with z. We are already having an equation with z. So for your equation with z, we are going to substitute. We have an equation with z. So first step, we have to square both sides to remove the z. So it means we are going to have 6 sine squared x minus 11 cos 90 degrees plus x plus 7 being equated to 4. Then from there, we have to make sure that we put all the ratios as 1. We express all the ratios as 1. So here, we are going to have our 6 sine squared x minus 11. But this part, we are going to conduct reduction. 90 plus x is in which quadrant? As we were doing, if we check, we said here we expect theta 90 degrees minus theta for the first quadrant. Second quadrant, we said we expect 90 degrees plus theta 180 degrees minus theta. Here we are having 90 plus. It's in the second quadrant. What is the sign of cos in the second quadrant? It's negative. Will our ratio change or it will not change? Because our angle we have 90, it's a co-ratio, so it is going to change to sine x, then plus 7, take this to this side, minus 4 equal to 0. So it means our equation gonna be 6 sine squared x minus and that plus 11 sine x plus 3. 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 11 sine x plus is equal to 0. If we are to check now, this can be solved by factorization, or we can use the quadratic formula. If we are to use factorization, our product is gonna be this and this. So our product will be 18 with our sine squared x. Our sum is the middle term here, which is 11 sine x. Then our factors, we want two numbers. If we multiply them, we are going to get 18, but when we add them, they give us a positive 11. So if we check, we can have 6 times 3. We can have 9 times 2. We can have 18 times 1. But if we check all these pairs, the only ones that when we add we get 11 are 9 and 2. So our factors are gonna be 9 sine x plus 2 sine x. So this part replaces our sum. So it means here can be written as 6 sine squared x plus 9 sine x plus 2 sine x plus 3 equal to 0. Then we group. So considering the first two terms, our common factor is 3 sine x. Then we'll be left with 3 here is 2. So we'll be left with 2 sine x here plus 3. Then our common factor here is plus 1. And then it means we are left with 2 sine x plus 2 sine x plus 3 equal to 0. The repeated factor, you write it once, so we are having 3 sine x plus 1 multiplied by 2 sine x plus 3 equal to 0. When we have two factors equated to 0, it means each factor 3 sine x plus 1 is equal to 0, or 2 sine x plus 3 is equal to 0. So it means our 3 sine x is equal to negative 1. Our sine x is equal to negative 1 over 3, or our 2 sine x is equal to negative 3. So our sine x is equal to negative 3 over 2. But we know sine x only ranges from negative 1 to positive 1. So this answer is invalid. This part is invalid. So we are only going to concentrate on this one. So we now want, they said the answer is supposed to be from 0 to 360. So we are going to use general solution here first. So it means our x is equal to sine inverse of a negative 1 over 3 plus k 360, where k is an element of integers. Then this we have to punch it on the calculator. Sine inverse negative You have to check that sine inverse. Oh, my calculator is misbehaving. Sine, let me check my calculator. Is sine inverse. Sine inverse negative 1/3, which is giving a negative 19. It's giving a negative 19.47 degrees plus K 360 degrees, or the X is equal to 180 degrees minus sine inverse a negative 1/3 plus K 360 degrees, where K is an element of integers. So that one is gonna be 180 minus, which is giving 199.47 degrees plus K 360 degrees. Remember, K is an element of integers, but the question is saying the answer must be between 0 and 360. So from our general solution, we now test. If I put 0 here, I see my answer is going to be negative. So it's not an answer. Because this plus, if I put 0 here, it's negative. What if I put 1? So it means I'm going to say, conclusively, my X is equal to negative which I put 1 here, is gonna be 340 degrees, or 340 point 340 degrees, 340.53 degrees. If I put a number which is not 1, the answer is outside the range. Then we go to the other solution. If I put negative, it's gonna be outside the range. If I put 0, so our X is equal to 119. Sorry, it's not 100. When we simplify here, it's 219, not 100. There it was supposed to be 200 and it was 180. Okay. It's 219.4, it's 0.47, 219.47 degrees. So based on the range that we have provided, it means those are the two solutions for our answer. Those are, so we said, sorry, it's 199. Make sure here we got that one. It's 199, not 19. 199.47 degrees. These are the two answers that satisfy the given range that is provided there. But if we are to check, when we are here, when we have standardized the equation, it was possible that if we are not, where we standardized the equation before we start factorization, when we arrived here, it was possible that you can just use the quadratic formula if you are not comfortable with factorization. So it means that we are going to have our sign x being equal to plus or minus. Copy the correct quadratic formula from the formula sheet, minus b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. So here minus our b. If you check, a is the coefficient of sine squared, which was going to be equal to 6. Our b is the coefficient of sine x, which was 11. Then our c is the constant, which was equal to 3. So we're going to have minus our b, it's 11, plus or minus the square root of b squared, which is 11 squared minus 4. Our a is 6. Our c is 3 all over 2a all over 2a. 2. Our a is 6. Then trust your calculator. When you punch your calculator, we're going to get our sine x equal to this or our sine x equal to this. But since this is outside the range, because the range for sine x is from -1 up to +1, it means here it was going to give an invalid solution. You solve this one. And take note, here we used the formula. It was possible that you can also use the quadrants, the method of using the reference angle, but we'll discuss that in some next time. Then the next question 6.3. Question 6.3. On question 6.3, let's remove all this. On question 6.3, you are given that G is equal to 4 minus that all over 3. Then the question is saying calculate the maximum value. You are required to calculate the maximum value of that expression. So to calculate the maximum value, it means we were going to convert. Let's write this. We are going to write this. So this reduces to 4. It's a common factor. Then we are going to have 1 minus 2 sine squared x all over 3. The reason why we factorized, we know we are familiar with graphs where we do not have an exponent on our trig functions, but we know this one from our formula sheet that is going to be equal to 4. Then from our formula sheet, 1 minus 2 sine squared x, we know this is gonna be equal to cos 2x. Then we say over 3, not 4 there, over 3. The reason why we convert here, the angles, we are not familiar with the angles with the squared. We are not familiar with the trig ratios with the squared when we are sketching our graphs. We sketch those ones which are not having squared. So we wanted to make sure that we reduce this to a function which is not having squared. So if we are to check in this particular case, this coefficient of our trig ratio helps us with the maximum. So from here we can conclude that therefore maximum value of G, therefore max of G must be equal to 4 over 3. Because if we were given a trig function like maybe fx is equal to a cos x, this value, this coefficient of the ratio tells us about the maximum and the minimum. It means if we are given this, the minimum was gonna be equal to negative a, and the maximum was gonna be equal to positive a. That is, if that a given there was greater than 0. But if the a was negative here, it simply means that the minimum was just going to be, if the a was negative, if that a was less than 0, meaning to say, let us using numbers. Let us do it using numbers. It becomes more clearer that way. We are saying if we are given fx is equal to 3 cos x, our minimum will be equal to negative 3 and our maximum will be equal to positive 3. If you are given that your fx is equal to negative 3 cos x, our minimum was gonna be just negative 3, then our maximum was gonna be positive 3. So this coefficient of the ratio tells us about the minimum and the maximum. Then the next question is saying, write down the smallest value of x. Write down the smallest possible value of x for which G will have a maximum value in the interval from 0 to 36. Write down the smallest value of x for which G will have a maximum value write down the smallest possible value of x for which G will have a maximum value in the interval, that one. So you have to take note that this numerator can only have a maximum value if this part is 0. Because we said the maximum value is 4 over 3. So from here it means as long as this whole part is 0, that's when we have a maximum value here. So if we check, write down the smallest possible value of x for which g we have. So for which g we have a maximum value. For g to have a maximum value, it means this ratio, this must, because we said our maximum value is 4/3. If we check from the previous question, we said our maximum value for g is 4/3. So it simply means that this, from our simplification, this part must be equal to 1. It simply means this part must be equal to 1. In other words, on question 6.3.2, it simply means that cos 2x must be equal to 1 for us to have a maximum value. So in some other words, we are solving this equation equal to 1. In other words, we are solving this equation must be equal to 1. So how are we going to get a 1? How are we going to get a 1 here? Because we said it's going to be 4/3 maximum value. 4/3 we established it when this one is 1. So it simply means we are going to solve this equation. So it means 2x is equal to cos inverse 1. So cos inverse 1, what are we going to get? You can just punch that on your calculator. You can just punch that on your calculator. How are we getting cos inverse 1? So it's gonna be cos inverse 1, which gives you, if you check, you write it as a general solution plus or minus that plus k 360 degrees, or by taking from the graph, where is our graph equal to 1? Where is our graph equal to 1? You just have to know even from the graph, where is the graph of cos equal to 1? We know here our answer, 2x is equal to 0. They said the interval from 0 to 360. So 0, you divide it by 2, x is equal to 0. But according to what here, x is not included, x is excluded. The other general solution is gonna be, from the general solution, 2x equal to 360 degrees. If we divide by 2 both sides, our x is also being equal to 180 degrees. And 180 degrees lies within the range. So it means here our x is equal to 180 degrees. But at the bottom line, we have to take note that it was coming from the fact that we are saying, for us to have a maximum, since we said the maximum is 4/3, it means this value must be equal to 1. So where is this value equal to 1? It's in this range from 0 to 360. It's either at 0 or at 180. But you have to bear in mind that at 0 there, it's excluded because we did not use a square bracket. That's why we could not include 0. Alternatively, for us to have that, it means this part, since we said our maximum is at 4/3, it means this whole part must be equal to 0 here. It means this whole part must be equal to 0. So if we are to use that to answer that question, it means we'll be having minus that whole part, which is 8 sine squared x must be equal to 0. In other words, this ratio must be equal to 0. So we are saying sine squared x must be equal to 0. So we know if we solve square root both sides, your sine x will be equal to 0. How are you going to simplify that? So the sine x is gonna be 0 where? The sine x gonna be 0 at 0. If we check from the general solution, it's going to say we get answers like 0. We also have an answer at 180 degrees. We also have an answer at 360 degrees. So if you are to check, we can try to do that. If you put 0 there, can you please go and put, because can you please go and put in any of the, you can test your answers, but take note 0. It's already out. So we can't use 0. Number 2, if we substitute 180 there, so we are going to talk of course 360. Then you can use it at 120. You can test. If you say cos 720, you can check your answers. You see, it's also giving you 1. So it means even here, it was possible that our x is equal to 360 degrees. That is if we are to use, because the range, this 360 is included, it was also acceptable. They say write down the smallest possible value of x for which we have, so the smallest possible value between all these. So our final answer, it means our x is equal to 180. This one cannot be accommodated because it's not the smallest. 0, we said cannot be accommodated because of this. It's not included. We used a circular bracket. Thank you.